I'm so excited to speak to our guest today. She's an aesthetic physician associate in New Jersey. Please help me to introduce aesthetic injector Anna.
Hi, everybody. It's nice to be with you.
Nice, nice. I'm glad you were able to join the show today.
Yes, I'm happy to do this interview with you.
Hi, my name is Jonathan McLean, and I'm the founder and CEO of McLean Aesthetics.
Welcome to the dark side.
Let's go.
Now, Anna, tell me a little bit about where you're at right now, and tell me where you're at right now.
All right, I'm actually in one of the exam rooms or treatment rooms at High Point Med Spa, which is located in Mountainside, New Jersey. Just finished with a patient.
Nice, nice. Are you originally from New Jersey?
No, I'm actually originally from Kazakhstan. I came to US about 22 years ago. I lived in Brooklyn, and about 7 years ago, we moved to New Jersey.
So tell me what made you want to get into the aesthetic industry?
So I graduated physician assistant program in 2007 at NYT, and I started working in medical dermatology, but there's always an aesthetic side, or at least with the physicians that I worked with, they always practiced aesthetics as well, injectables as well as lasers. So it's always been part of what I do. And I've been doing medical and aesthetic dermatology for 15 years. And I worked in Staten Island, then in Brooklyn. And when we moved to New Jersey, the commute just got to be a little too much. I was spending a lot of time on the road, and it seemed like a good opportunity to open something locally near our home. And we wanted to concentrate on just aesthetics.
Nice, nice. So you have your own business right now, correct?
Yes, correct. High Point Med Spa, I'm the founder, and my husband, who is an MD, he's the medical director.
Super cool. You don't have to find a medical director. That's
Yes,
amazing.
that was an
So
easy
tell
step
me,
for us.
yeah, no, yeah. Because that is a big point of opening your own spa, right? Finding a medical director is right for you. The relationship isn't there, then it's not gonna work.
Absolutely. You need to have that partnership, you need to have that trust. So for us, it was easy.
Yes, for sure, for sure. So tell me a little bit about the challenges that you had starting a med spa. I know that's extremely hard, so I congratulate you honestly for doing that. But what were some challenges, especially early on starting a med spa?
So one of the challenges was for us, of course, is the visibility and having clients, because I never practiced in the area. So I never had any existing clients. So we had to start with zero clients, and nobody knew about us. And of course, it was a first time business venture for us. Yes, I knew the medical side. My husband could handle any complication, but the business is a whole other world for us. So just learning about marketing and the business plan and financial aspect of running as a business was definitely something that we had to, learn. And it still sometimes is very challenging. Some people go to school just to learn about marketing, and here we are, we're doing injections, and we have to do the marketing for now on our own. So there's a steep learning curve with having a business.
Yeah, no, that's very true. You got to wear many hats to kind of figure it out, right? Like you said, you
Mhm.
had to do marketing, you had to do accounting, you had to do everything to kind of figure out where you in regulation and where you running the business right. And to my
Yes.
understanding, all the pharmaceutical companies make you pay for the product up front, correct?
Yes, they make you pay up front, and a lot of them have make you buy a certain amount.
Mm,
So there's definitely a large investment into the business up front. Um, so that's one of the challenges as well.
Now, what services do you offer at your spa by chance?
So currently we offer neurotoxins. On US market, there are four. There's actually a fifth one that was announced just recently. But I
Yeah.
offer three of them, which is Botox, Dysport, and Xeomin. I also do fillers. For now, it's just hyaluronic acid based fillers, but we'll soon be introducing Radius as well. We do chemical peels, microneedling. We also do IV vitamin infusions, and I do consultations and medical grade skincare products.
And down in South Florida right now, lips and the non-surgical BBLs are super popular, right? That's what everyone's getting. I'm interested to know, what are people getting in the New Jersey area?
So in this area, I get requests for a lot of subtle work. I do see a lot of women who are in the corporate world, and a lot of them are
Mm,
now not traveling to the city, but they still do a lot of Zoom meetings, so they don't want anything too obvious. So there's a
yeah,
lot of just overall facial balancing and
yeah.
harmonization, but I still do get quite a bit of younger girls who are requesting just the lips, and that's all they need because they're so beautiful and young. They don't need anything else. Chins are very popular actually right now,
Mhm.
um, because chin was underrated facial feature for quite a while, and it can really make um, face balancing and face proportions just beautiful.
Yeah, I recently heard that actually a lot of people might be like, I need this or that, and it's really your chin that you need.
Yes.
Super interesting stuff. Now tell me a little bit about kind of your clientele. I want to talk about your clientele a little bit. What type of clientele do you get the most in that area?
So most of them are women.
Yeah.
Most of them, I would say a good portion is in late 30s, early 40s, and I have some early 20s as well.
Okay. So do they ever come in and ask, hey, I would love to look like this celebrity, or I would love to live like this person? And so which one do you get the most?
I actually sometimes ask them. I actually had a girl yesterday who came for lips, and I asked her, what is your goal with your lips? Do you have the lips of a celebrity that you really love? But she was like, no, I don't really have anybody that I'm looking up to. Yes, there was a period of like Kylie Jenner lips before that everybody was asking, but right now I'm just asking, people are actually asking, I just want to look rested. I just want to have a little bit of a glow and not look so tired.
And that's a good point. I'm glad that phase has passed, because my next or following question to that would be, how do you set patient expectations? Like if somebody wants something that maybe isn't possible, or maybe you don't feel comfortable with, or how do you kind of get that image that's in their head and kind of make their reality happen?
Well, here the consultation really comes into play, and I spend quite a bit of time on just talking to the patient, discussing the goals and what is achievable. Because if they have a certain perception or a certain image in their head of what they want to look like, and I don't discuss it and then I just inject, they will not be happy with me. And
Yeah.
they will be miserable and they will be calling and texting me just complaining. So that consultation and setting out the goals is super important. And I've said no many times to patients when they ask, well, I want my lips bigger. We can't always go bigger, especially with the lips. We can't always fill the under eye area. Um, there is a subtlety to the treatment and a certain expectation. There is a limit to what your body can handle, and if it's something that doesn't align with my patient, that's not the right patient for me. They have to trust my judgment and what I'm promising for us to have that good relationship and long lasting relationship. Because once I inject and they're miserable, I will never see them again. And that's not my goal. I want my
Mm,
patients to keep coming back.
yeah, no, I completely agree. Like, I always ask providers, like, do you ever fear bad reviews or bad kind of feedback? And I guess when you're managing your patients like that and really setting the expectation, that's not really possible.
As a new business, there's always in the back of your mind kind of, make sure the patient is always happy. You don't want to have that bad review from the start. So patient selection is extremely important, um, for the practice, for me, for the patient themselves. Um, because like I said, as a new business, to be visible on Google, to come up, for patients to trust us, that initial trust comes from those reviews. And they want to see 5-star reviews for them to even consider us. So patient selection is extremely important.
That's true. And that's a really good point. Like, you're interviewing the patient, it's like they're interviewing you to see if you guys are both a good match for sure. Now, I
Exactly.
know you probably work a ton for sure. Tell me a little bit about what you do when you're not working to kind of handle, work-life balance, stress, things of that nature.
Sure. Yes, I do work a lot. Business is certainly running your own business takes up a lot of time. Just besides injections and seeing patients, there are always phone calls and messages and blogging and marketing. So I have 3
Hmm.
kids, so I am always busy. Besides, having work, they started school on Wednesday, so I'm happy to be in that routine, send them off to school and not worrying about having them entertained and fed because they were always hungry when they were home in the summer. And for me personally, I do jujitsu. I just got my
Nice.
purple belt this summer,
Wow.
and it's a definitely great stress reliever for me. And I also write books. I write fiction, and I do have some nonfiction medical articles published in peer-reviewed journals.
Wow, wow. So I want to dig into that. I can't just let all that go by. Tell me, how did you get into jiu-jitsu and what do you like? Tell me what you get out of that.
Sure. So I started jujitsu about almost 5.5 years ago. It was
Yeah,
first for my oldest son, who's 12 right now. We were looking for an activity
nice.
for him to be involved, to have that discipline, to have that great physical workout. And in my school that I'm going to right now, the coach created a women's self-defense class, which was 10 weeks in length. And it was free just to attract the customer. So I thought it would be a great opportunity for me to do something that I would never do. Like I never
Yeah.
practiced any martial arts. I did ballroom dancing when I was in high school. I did a little bit of swimming. So nothing too physical. So it was definitely out of my comfort zone, but I wanted to have some knowledge in self-defense. And because it was all women, so I felt very comfortable. But when the course was over, I really loved the physical part of it and the adrenaline rush when you are like totally stressed out with with the live roles. So I transitioned into doing just mixed class, both men and women. And I continued to do so. And again, it's just such a great stress reducer. It's a great physical workout. It's nothing like I've done before. It's totally out of my comfort zone, but I feel great after doing it. It just clears your mind. I love it. So highly recommend.
Yeah, no, exercise and really just, getting that out helps. I believe it. That's amazing. Super cool. Super, super cool. And tell me a little bit about your books. I would love to highlight that. What made you want to write a book? And tell me more about them.
So I was always first initially an avid reader. And then when I was
Yeah.
in college, I really enjoyed my English classes. And then there was a creative writing class that you could get into through your professor's recommendation. And I was recommended to this class, and it was an amazing experience. And that was kind of my first introduction to writing. And once I finished physician assistant program and I started practicing and I had interesting cases, I had the ability to publish them in peer-reviewed journals. So that was my first writing and publishing. And then once my daughter was born, who is 9 right now, I kind of felt very limited in what I was doing, just at home with the baby. It was all about feeding and naps. And I wanted something just to do for myself. So I was reading at that time, and I was reading off New York bestseller list. And some of the books were amazing, and some of them were like, why are they on the bestseller list? Like, it didn't make sense.
Yeah, yeah.
I bet I can write a book, just something that I would enjoy reading. So that's how I started my first novel. It took me a while to finish it. I was unfamiliar with the whole process of editing and, doing book covers and traditional publishing versus indie publishing. But once I kind of, learned about it, I finished that first book, and then I wrote another one. And now I have 4 books in total. The last 2 are part of the trilogy, so I have to start writing that third one to finish it.
That's amazing, honestly. It's like as if you don't have enough stuff already with owning your own spa, your kids, everything. You have all these amazing books. That's amazing. Where can people find them if they're interested in reading them or learning more about them?
So all my books are available in any major online stores, in any major publishers, like not publishers, but bookstores like Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and I have it in ebook format and paperback. And paperback you can order from Amazon.
Great, great. We're going to list those below for sure so people can check those out. If you
Thank
could
you.
give me one highlight about your career, what would be one highlight that you would say?
The highlights is learning. I love that this field is not stagnant, or just medicine in general. That's why I went into it. There's always something new. You're always improving. You're always, um, you know, getting more knowledge. There's always room for growth. So there's never really a dull moment. And for me, in dermatology, specifically in the beginning and now in aesthetics, I never felt the burnout like so many physicians or PAs or nurses might experience in other fields. And I'm grateful for that. I love what I do. I love being a PA.
That's amazing. That's really cool because when you really love what you do, you get to experiment and get to really push, that industry forward. So that has to be very rewarding.
Yes, it is. Absolutely.
Nice, nice. Now, social media has really changed the game when it comes to aesthetics and even dermatology too. Tell me how social media has impacted your business and your career.
Yes, social media is really just a life of its own. You can be on social media every day, all day long. It's
Yeah,
entertainment, but I do use it certainly for the business. I do have Instagram, I do have Facebook, and during pandemic, I also got onto TikTok. First, just to have fun, uh, nothing serious. But then I started doing educational videos for the business on TikTok.
yeah.
I have a few viral videos that grew my
Nice.
base. Yes. So certainly has its challenges. It certainly is addictive, and sometimes it's hard to put away your phone and not look at it constantly. What did people commented, or who liked what, or what's the next trend? But you have to be on social media for your business to be visible, because especially younger generation, that's where they gonna go to get information about you, about your business, about your before and afters, what kind of a person you are, what do you look like, how you sound, what's your philosophy. So you have to be on social media.
Yeah, I agree. I couldn't agree more, actually. If you're not on social media, do you really exist? Because it's kind of like being in the newspaper if we rewind a couple of years, or having that TV commercial. It's like a commercial every time you post. So
Exactly.
I couldn't
And
agree more.
especially as a new business, you need that visibility. Yes, certainly if you existed for 20, 25 years, you might not be as, dependent on social media. But if you're a young business trying to get established, you need that platform to be visible.
Who are some people on social media that you follow that you would also tell other maybe providers, people in this industry to follow?
There are quite a few. So I always check out posts from Dr. Subio. He's a plastic surgeon in
Yeah.
Philadelphia. Ruma Aesthetics.
Yep.
They always have great videos before and afters, and just seeing um, the owner of Ruma Aesthetics kind of building that practice is inspiring. In my area, Red Rabbit Aesthetics in the South Jersey. I follow her as well because she's a PA. They run the practice with her husband as well, so kind of similar situation, but they're a little bit ahead of us in their business, how long they've existed. Um, who else? Dr. Rifkin. I think he's in California, who does liquid
Hmm.
nose jobs. um, Extremely knowledgeable about the field of aesthetics. Those that just come right to mind, but there are so many more, experts in the field. Zoe, who is a nurse who moved to Florida from Manhattan. She is always interesting to follow. Yeah.
Great, great, great. I'm gonna list all those people down below so everybody can follow them and learn some more.
Yes.
Now I know training is so important. Just continuous education all the time is so important to really stay up on the latest trends. What are some conferences or some trainings that you would suggest?
So I'm actually going to Philadelphia in September for Dr. Subia's first conference that I'm excited about. Um,
Wow.
yep. As a PA earlier in the career, I loved Aesthetic Extender Symposium in Florida. Uh,
Yes.
there is a conference in New Jersey in the fall, which is local and smaller, that I go to. It's also just cosmetics. But Society of Derm PAs runs a great conference if there are PAs who practice, medical dermatology, and something that I attend as well, just to keep up with the field. But the knowledge, like I said, you never stop. There are always webinars, online conferences. I think, what is it, G-Face Aesthetics also had a great conference earlier in the year. Um, there are sometimes so many that it feels overwhelming, and sometimes you feel like you're missing out if you don't go to one or the other. Um, but I try to do several during the year. Some I attend in person and some I do online.
Yeah, no, I can definitely understand that. And being an experienced provider, these conferences, I'm sure you learn so much because they do go fast, but you're already at such a solid level that you can comprehend exactly what they're saying. For newer providers, what are some tips I guess you can give them, or some things that they can do to kind of get their feet wet, and really learn instead of just wasting money sometimes?
So for the newer provider, I would suggest, whenever, don't rush into spending money, uh, going to conferences or paying for things, because a lot of the training will be on the job. A lot of supervising physicians will be able to get trainers into the office. for you to get trained on just basic level skills. And then if you're kind of beginning, the aesthetic extender symposium in Florida is great, and they have some smaller classes that you can attend and in addition to the symposium to kind of expand your knowledge and get more hands-on. And then on Instagram, her name is Jubilant Julie. She does online courses. I think it's on Palette. I can get it to you so you can post it. But there are some online courses that you can sign up, and with specific injectors who post their videos and tips and tricks on the injectables that are a little more affordable. Of course, as you grow and you want something more in depth, there is Dr. Swift. His course is great. Anatomy courses are great through MSPA, but that's a little bit more of an investment that you have to make. And I certainly wouldn't recommend jumping onto those courses right in the beginning of your career.
How do you feel about cadaver courses? And is that something that everybody should be doing on a regular basis?
I think it's something that injectors should experience at some point in their career. I was lucky enough that in a PA program at NYT, we did have a cadaver course. And then practicing dermatology, I also did a lot of surgeries, skin cancer, mole removal, cyst removal. So I worked with cutting the tissue and kind of seeing the depth and all the layers of skin and fat into the muscle and suturing it. But some providers don't get that. There are some nurses who might have just practiced family medicine and they never did any surgery, so they never worked with living tissue, or maybe they didn't do any cadaver course because their program didn't offer it. So it's just a good thing to experience, to visualize all those layers and blood vessels and just have the feel of the tissue. So I would recommend it.
For sure, for sure. Now, for someone coming into this industry brand new, what are some key benefits of the aesthetic industry?
So what I mostly hear from other providers coming from other fields, especially if it's something stressful like emergency medicine, urgent care, ICU, those are very high stress environments where you're dealing with very sick patients sometimes. So when you transition into aesthetics, it's definitely not as acute. Yes, you're dealing still with people. You have to have a certain skill of customer care, I guess. But there is nobody on their deathbed. There's nobody bleeding out. So there is no stress of handling something that, you have to deal with right now, or this patient, can die or have an injury or something like that. So definitely less stress, anxiety, less acuity, better hours, because in ER typically or ICU you do 12-hour shifts. Sometimes you have to be on call. Sometimes you have to do night shifts. So aesthetics is definitely more laid back compared to those fields.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And what would be one con or something that maybe is less enjoyable that you find working in this industry, if you have any?
If you are not used to dealing with people, it might not be the field for you. Some people, whether they're introverts or maybe they don't have that people skill, it might be harder for them because that's all you do. You either talking to the patient in front of you or you talking to them on the phone. managing their expectations, calming them down because they're panicking about a bruise or a swelling. So there's a lot of talking you have to do. So that's sometimes it's tough if you're not a people's person.
Definitely, definitely. It is a lot of like personable skills because I always find that, and when I talk to a lot of providers, that you actually build your base or client base from a community point. So if you can't really build a community or kind of interact with your community, I don't really see it going too much farther.
Exactly. You have to talk to your patients because sometimes patients come to me and they reveal the most personal facts about their life. And sometimes I know more about them than their husbands. I certainly see a lot of wives who don't tell their husbands that they're doing cosmetic procedures. So, and you get to know about the kids and their lifestyle and where do they go for vacations and illnesses and what they're struggling with. So you need to have a good bedside manner because otherwise they have a choice. They can go somewhere else.
For sure, for sure. Now, is there any publications or articles or things like that that you find interesting or that you have on repeat all the time that you can suggest for the audience?
Certainly, I always check out Journal of Drugs and Dermatology. That's a big one for me because cosmetic surgery. Um, Quite a few articles from PAs as well, from SDPA, but I can give you certain one that I always look into to stay up to date so you can post them.
For sure, for sure. And I'm gonna drop those below, whether she sends them or the ones that you just named also, so that people can learn a little bit more about those because they're
Mhm.
great too. For sure, for sure. But thank you, Anya, so much for sitting down with me and talking more about the aesthetic and dermatology industry. Tell everybody where they can find you and what you have planned next.
Sure. So I'm located in Mountainside, New Jersey, but you can follow me on Instagram at High Point Med Spa. On TikTok, I am at derm_love. You can follow me for some educational videos and some fun videos there. And like I said, we're looking to add radius into our service, hyperdilute radius specifically to rejuvenate the neck, the chest, and add some volume to the booty. We just started IV vitamin infusion, so we're excited about that. And hopefully we just continue to grow and add more services like an esthetician in the future.
Amazing, amazing. And that TikTok, the TikTok video that got all the that went viral, what were you doing in there by chance?
It was actually a pimple popping video. Those are quite popular.
Wow,
And,
yeah.
and the comment section is what I think made it take off because the comments were just hilarious. And I just would scroll and read the comments and not watch the video.
I gotta check that out. Gotta check that out. But until next time, bye.
Bye. It was a pleasure.